The stars are bright, we own the night. The stars are bright, we own. The stars are bright, we own the night. The stars are bright, we own. The stars.
Multiple myeloma is a cancer that forms in a type of white blood cell called plasma cells. Okay, so what happens is these healthy plasma cells that we all have help fight infections, okay, by making proteins called antibodies. Antibodies are needed to find and attack germs, okay. In the case of multiple myeloma, cancerous plasma cells build up in our bone marrow. The bone marrow is the soft matter that's inside of our bones, okay, where blood cells are made. So these cells are crowded out along with healthy cells, if that makes any sense. So with multiple myeloma, rather than make helpful antibodies, the cancer cells, which is the myeloma, make proteins that just don't work. Okay, this leads to complications of multiple myeloma. Usually people are put on observation, which is called watch and wait, as this can be a slow growing disease that may not show true signs or symptoms. And as I always say, it's like Prego. It's in there based on whatever your labs come back in terms of protein levels. Okay. So there is a scale that is used for how to proceed with active treatment called CRAB. CRAB is C equals calcium elevation, R equals renal insufficiency, A equals anemia, and B equals bone abnormalities. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some myths to multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma affects people that are in their 70s and 80s only. Nope. Okay. Again, in my case, I was in my 30s when I was diagnosed. Okay, so you have people, the spectrum is 65 to 74 is like the higher probability, if you will, in terms of percentage wise. Then you would have those who are 75 to 84%. And then you have those who are under 60. So the percent that I was diagnosed was the lower. So that's like 0.04%. So there's different scales. But I say all that to say that's not true. It affects people of various ages. Okay. And there's a more little spike of those who are younger. Okay, as I'm sure a lot of people know, you do the little Google thing, it says 5 years is your death sentence with this particular cancer. And that is not accurate, especially in the last 15 years or so, as there have been a lot of new treatment options for consideration based on individual situations. Okay. 2, there's no specific group faced with multiple myeloma. That also is not exactly true. As Black people, are twice likely to be diagnosed. Okay, especially with black men, they are highly impacted than black women. So there's a different mixture in terms of Caucasian, black, Asian, but African Americans are highly affected with multiple myeloma. Okay, so as we wait for Valarie, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to read Valarie's bio. That way I can get, I'm trying to get all of this out the way so that way we can have a nice little conversation. So Valarie Traynham has been on the myeloma journey since 2015. As a cancer thriver, her goal is to learn about the disease, educate others, and bring light to the health inequity that exists for myeloma patients. She wants to use her voice for those who cannot speak up for themselves to ensure that they receive an equitable access to good health care, clinical trials, and proper treatment. She is passionate about teaching others how to be their own best advocate. And we need that. Advocacy, that's what we preach. What I did, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yes.
So, as you heard, I did kind of put it like, what is multiple myeloma? You know,
Mm-hmm.
so for those who don't know, just a little something or what have you. And then I already gave your bio, so that way, boom, we can just get up into this conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, Valarie is a multiple myeloma thriver. Okay, and she's also a breast cancer survivor. Okay, so I want to start this conversation on tell us how you were diagnosed with multiple
Mm-hmm.
myeloma.
Yeah, so it came about kind of slow. It was in the fall of the year. Actually, it was about this time, the end of 2014. I was doing life, I was active at work. I was active in my church. I was active just, being. And I started having nosebleeds that would just seemingly come out of nowhere. And, it would be like a 15-minute bleed, 20-minute. Um, I didn't really think a lot of it. I told some of my friends, like, having these nosebleeds, I don't know what's going on. And they're like, oh, it's probably the change of the season. It's the dry air. And, get you some nasal spray, just keep your nose moisturized and stuff like that. Um, and that's what I did. It stopped for a little bit. Um, the first part of December, I remember I was sitting on my computer doing some work and it was just a big gush. My nose started bleeding out of nowhere. And I still didn't chalk it up to anything. I'm like, I never put two and two together. I'm just like, I just thought it was just nosebleeds. But it was really a few weeks later, I had a bout of the flu. I had been getting frequent infections. Like I'd have a UTI infection, go and get antibiotics and get it treated, and it would just come right back. So it was a combination of those things. But it was really a bout of the flu that really sent me to see my primary care doctor. I had the flu for close to a month, and it just wasn't going away. I was taking all the things to kind of relieve some of the symptoms, but I felt horrible. And I had a little bit of back pain. It was nothing major, nothing that really concerned me. But when I went to see my primary care doctor, I told her what was going on, told her how long I'd been kind of experiencing some of this, and she was like, "Come on, let's run some tests. Let's find out, what might be going on." And she just did regular blood work and picked up on a high protein and sent me to see, a hematologist. She referred me pretty quickly. She knew that something was not right in my blood work. So she sent me to see a hematologist, and things kind of quickly unfolded from there. They ran more tests, and and you know, found out that it was multiple myeloma.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was young, 42 years old. You know, cancer was not on my radar at all. Um, so I was really surprised. You know, when I went to see the hematologist, I really thought I was going in to get a prescription of some iron because I had been anemic for many, many years, and I had controlled it by just over-the-counter supplements and you know, watching my diet. But I was like, oh, I guess it's starting to get a little worse. Let's go in here. Maybe I need a prescription for some type of iron. And really, that's what I went in there thinking that was going to happen, and came out with the cancer diagnosis. Go
It
figure.
it's crazy, but
Yeah.
don't you feel sometimes like we're like walking time bombs
Mhm.
in terms of you just don't know, right? I just had this conversation this week how sometimes you feel like these viruses or what have you is like in there just simmering and you just
Mhm.
don't know what elevates it to become active, you know.
Yeah.
Like I had said, in terms of what multiple myeloma is, it's especially when you do that whole watch and wait, it's like
Mhm.
prego is in there, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I heard you say that. And see, the thing with watch and wait for those individuals that maybe have been diagnosed with MGUS or maybe smoldering myeloma, um, I can't imagine not watch and wait. I didn't watch and wait. You know, it was full-blown myeloma by the time I was diagnosed. But, for those people who are smoldering, I'm sure that's hard knowing that it's just watch and wait. So a lot of people that I coach, they're like, what am I going to watch and wait?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to watch and wait it to do? I don't want it to morph into something else. Let's start treating it now. So yeah, it's a very good analogy that you use. You're just like a time bomb. You just don't know when it's going to happen.
It is. It truly is.
Mhm.
Now, okay, let me change over my little questions. Um, okay, so you said some of the signs that you saw was obviously the nosebleed. That was like a
Mhm.
big thing.
Yeah.
Were there any like fatigue? Were you tired or anything or
Yeah.
headache?
Yeah. Yeah. So I had fatigue, but I thought it was just I was just overly tired because I was doing so much. I never would have put those two and two together, you know. Um, the fatigue got to where it kind of slowed me down from doing some of the things that I would like to, get out. I love being outdoors, so it kind of slowed me down a little bit in some of those things as far as hiking and doing outdoor activities. But I still kept trucking because I'm like, you know, it's nothing, it's just something that's going to pass. How oftentimes we're like, oh, you feel bad, but it's going to pass. You'll feel better um, after a while. And that just never happened.
Right. So, what is something you didn't know about your condition? Because you and I have spoken before, and
Mhm.
we've all had such different experiences and things that we've learned maybe after the fact. Maybe
Yeah,
some have gotten the whole package in the beginning, but I doubt
yeah.
it because I think in time, then there's more questions. Well, why is this and how is that? So, what is something you didn't know about this particular condition?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that I've been kind of surprised by is that even though you stop treatment or you get through your induction and if you have the transplant, you get through the transplant and consolidation and stuff like that. um, that's not the end of it. you know Even though you may be told that your cancer's in remission or there's no evidence of disease, there's still something that kind of lingers on. The treatment side effects that most people don't talk about, that they kind of linger on. So that's one thing that I didn't know, and I think that's one thing that's kind of affected me the most. Is just getting used to, and people say it all the time, this new normal, getting used to this new normal. But yeah, that would be the biggest thing.
I totally can relate. Um, it's just a lot. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes people feel like, again, this is one of, for some people, this is like that invisible condition,
Yeah,
especially if you look healthy. Oh, you're
yeah,
sick, or let's say if you didn't do the stem cell transplant, it's just certain things where it's like, okay, well, whatever. But
yeah.
it is constantly looking over your shoulder.
Mhm.
Like if it's not the myeloma situation, is it going to be something else?
Mhm.
Because sometimes there's that onset of something else because, of what you've had. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think even with with myeloma and the treatments that we go through, there's that risk of secondary cancers, solid tumor cancers, even secondary blood cancer. So, that is on the mind of a lot of individuals. A secondary cancer is not something that I ever saw. I never thought that that could happen to me. Um, so when I got the breast cancer, it was like, whoa, wait a minute. I've already had cancer. I've already dealt with that. Um, so just being prepared for that, it was hard. It was another shock, and it was very hard there.
I can imagine.
Mhm.
So, what challenges, can you name two challenges that you face with breast cancer along with multiple myeloma?
Yeah. Oh gosh. I think the first challenge would be really just kind of grieving the life that I wanted. You know, getting a cancer diagnosis changes your life. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter what type of cancer it is, it's life altering. So I think it's just been a challenge grieving some of those things that I wanted to do or how I thought life was gonna be. And it isn't like that. Now, I wouldn't go back and change anything because, the cancer and where I am now, I really believe that I'm walking in purpose in what I'm doing. So I wouldn't change anything. But there are times when I think about, oh man, what if this or what if if I hadn't got diagnosed with cancer, how would life be different there? Um, and I think another challenge has been just the shift in dynamic with relationships with people, with my family, with my friends, just those around me. It's been challenging because a lot of people don't understand. As much as I try to educate, some people just don't get it. And they don't get it because when they think of cancer, they think of, oh, you go in, you cut it out, you get some chemo, and you go on about your life. They don't understand those things. So trying to get people to understand that, yeah, I may look good, but on the inside, it's hard. It's a battle sometimes. So I think those are two of the bigger challenges that I deal with.
I think you made some wonderful points. As I mentioned before, this happens to be one of those invisible conditions. So,
Mhm.
for some, okay, let's be clear, but if you don't look a certain way, and it's just a whole misconception of what cancer looks like. I think for a
Yeah.
lot of people, when you say breast cancer, automatically they think, okay, well, that means a breast will be removed. Or if you
Mhm.
say lung cancer, that means, okay, that means you can't breathe. And those
Mhm.
are things not necessarily accurate. So that just tells you, a lot of people are somewhat clueless to what cancer looks like and can
Mhm.
feel,
Yeah.
so that just leads to a whole lot of judgment a little bit
Hmm.
and just a whole lot of inaccuracies,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Those are
know,
two good words, two very good words to describe it. It's, yeah.
you know. Um, and it's funny too, and maybe you can give me your spin on it, because don't you find it rather interesting that people who, whether it's multiple myeloma or anything else, we're always making sure someone else understands and that they're good with what you have going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that?
I
Why
don't
is
get
it
it.
that we have to do, I call it the hard grunt work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah, I don't know why that is. And it's not the case with everyone, but it seems like just a lot of people that's in my circle, and really my family, that's a big thing is they don't get it. Doesn't matter how much I try to explain or anything like that, they just don't get it. And I've just come to accept it that, hey, it is what it is. I got to keep going. I can't let that stop me. I can't let that affect me. Um, you know, so
I, I totally agree. Just to play with that a little bit further, um, do you think, sometimes, like, what is that phrase? The shoe on the other foot or the foot on the other shoe, girl.
mhm.
I'm horrible with those kind of things. But
If the shoe was on the other
yeah,
foot.
the shoe is on the other foot, because sometimes
Uh-huh.
I feel that just like anybody, and maybe that's just human reaction, if they're not dealing with it, like you can tell them until the cow goes over the moon.
Hmm.
You're just explaining, like, but
Yeah,
let it be, God forbid, that they're affected with whatever, whatever. Then it's kind of
yeah,
like a whole storm of, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So as horrible as we don't want anyone to have to go through what we've gone
hmm,
through.
hmm,
However, for for people to get a real understanding, sometimes you feel like, okay, walk in my shoes so
yeah,
that way you can get a
yeah,
little hint of what it is that we're talking about, you know?
yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate that that is the case, and I don't wish cancer on anyone,
No, exactly.
never. But I think it's just until you've been there, you'll never understand. I can tell you and talk to you about it, but until you're there, until you've heard those words for yourself, um, it doesn't, it hits you in a different way. And I think you understand it a different way when you hear those words being told to you. When you're on the other side of that desk or table, or however you receive the news there, I think it's totally different. And until you are there, you just don't get it.
I totally agree. So let me ask you, why was it important for you to become a peer leader and a coach for others with myeloma?
Yeah, so becoming a coach and leader like that, because I didn't have that. When I was first diagnosed, I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know who to talk to. Um, I was scared, and I didn't want anybody else to go through that. If it was somebody that I could reach and just let them know that, hey, you're not alone in this. There is help available. There are people that is willing to support you. Um, and I really wanted to give back. It's I think it's so fulfilling when you're able to talk to somebody that's newly diagnosed, or somebody that is they're on the journey, but they just don't fully understand everything. I think it's great to be able to talk to them, give them clarity. But I think it's great just to be able to listen to people. Sometimes people don't have someone that they can talk to freely, non just in a free manner, not being judged for anything like that. And I enjoy doing that. And as a coach, it's about listening, and it's about guiding people in the right direction and helping them um, at some of the most tough times, that they may be dealing with.
And we appreciate everything that you do because people give back in that way. They fulfill other people who are trying to find their way through this
Yeah.
journey. And we know in the whole myeloma community, in some situations may be worse than others, but I think we can all relate, because we've gone through, if not the same situation in terms of the process, because the process for all of us is so different for each and every one of us,
Yeah.
but we can still relate
Yeah.
in some way. So
Yeah.
it's very appreciative that you have given of yourself to do that. So I just wanted to give you that
Oh,
your little
thank you.
flowers on Friday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's all part of the purpose. I look at it as being, that's why I have been through this journey. That's why I've been on this journey. That's why I am going through it, is to give back and help somebody else along. I think that's, whole purpose of it there.
Awesome. Awesome. So what is your go-to when you're feeling overwhelmed?
Um, Couple things. When I'm feeling overwhelmed, I just like to stop and just take a deep breath, really think about what's going on, and then I just kind of pray about it. One thing that's very important to me is, my faith. I lean in those tough and hard times. Um, as much as I like to be that person that people come to and, listen freely, when I have hard times like that, I have a hard time going to somebody else and kind of talking about it. So I kind of just lean in and really um, assess what's going on and really try and pray about it and really uplift myself to get out of that slump or to get over whatever the issue is that I'm dealing with.
Right. It's
Mhm.
crazy. Like I said before, we all process this journey differently. And
Yeah.
it's something I learned a lot from doing this series. I've learned a lot from a lot of the guests, including you, because we've spoken before. Um, and just how everyone processes all of this. You know what I'm saying? Which is rather interesting because sometimes I feel it's our kryptonite a little bit, right? Based on
Yeah.
that strength. I feel like though we don't want to go through this
Hmm.
situation, it it is it's a learning thing. And if you're open to learn
Yeah.
what it is, whatever your faith is,
Hmm.
okay, to okay, why am I going through this? To like really like delve into it a little bit. It
Yeah.
is quite interesting to see how strong each and every one of us are. Even those who don't feel like they're strong. The
Hmm.
strength in the myeloma world is a huge thing.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it's true. You
it's
don't know
a
how strong you are until that's all you have. That's when you find your strength there. It's when you don't realize how much strength you have until you are there and you're having to pull from somewhere. So,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So um let's see. Okay, as we somewhat wrap up, what are two things that annoy you? And okay, my questions are original. What are two things that annoy you? And what I mean by that is, as a cancer survivor,
Mhm.
okay, twofold, okay, what annoys you in terms of all that you've had to face, right?
Mhm.
And like, let's say in the case of someone complaining, like, oh, my, I don't want to like give lesser um, acknowledgement to someone else's grievance,
Yeah.
however. But like if you're like, oh, I don't know what could be like a little minor thing. Oh, my paper cut.
Yeah.
My paper cut,
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, it's just so annoying. It's hurting. See like the split in the finger, like girl bye. Like
Mhm.
those type of things in terms of annoyance. Give
Yeah.
me two.
So so I think of that even with the paper cut, um, and I used to look at it like that, but I don't know, and it kind of changed my whole perception on that because it may seem like nothing to me because it's not my finger that got cut. I don't know um, that person's tolerance to pain. I don't know what they may be dealing with. That paper cut may have been the thing that pushed them over the edge. That may have been the thing that's like, oh man, a paper cut now, I just can't deal with this. So I try not to um, get so annoyed because I don't know where people are and what they're going through at any given moment. So um, that would have annoyed me before, but just as I try to get to understand people in a different way and look at things from a different aspect, I try to not let stuff like that irritate me. Um, but I would say one of the bigger things being on this myeloma journey, one thing that really annoys me is that people don't always get the best care. Um, and I don't think that is fair. I don't think that's right. I've been very fortunate where I live. There are myeloma specialists all around me. Um, I can pick and choose what facility I want to, go and see a doctor, but everybody doesn't have that. And that's really annoying to me that, with everything that's available, it's not available to everybody. Everybody can't have that. So that's annoying to me. And that's one of my biggest annoyances, on this whole myeloma journey. Um, what is another thing that's annoying? This is a good question, Yolanda. I was
Thank
not
you.
prepared for that one. Yeah, you're good. Um, I would say and it just deals with people in general. You know, I I try not, like I said, I try not to get annoyed because you don't know where anybody is at any given time. Um, but I get annoyed with people who, if you don't want to know, about this disease and anything surrounding it, don't try to stop the people that are trying to get information. You know, um, yeah, don't prevent those who want to gain knowledge and a better understanding of what's going on. Don't prevent those. Don't stand in the way. Don't discourage those people that want to learn more.
I totally agree.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, we have some awesome comments. We have love the practice of empathy. And you rock, Valerie, as you
Yes.
do. And thanks so much. Thanks so much for your thoughts. Great discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, kudos to all of that. I mean, everyone is at different levels of this journey,
Mhm.
right? So we have to, I suppose, give everyone some grace and
Yeah.
just
I I love
it's
that. I
not
always
easy.
say. extend some grace, every day, wherever you are, extend some grace there.
Exactly. An extraordinary Pink said, in Pink said, knowledge is power for sure. It truly
And
is.
then also, that comment there, knowledge is power for sure, but you got to do something with that knowledge. We can get all the knowledge that we want, but we have to in turn utilize that knowledge to make us better, to what we learn, we need to utilize that to share it with others, educate
Mhm.
others, learn more. It's just a continuing process. Don't take that knowledge and hold on to it because it's just sitting there. Take it and do something with it. Empower yourself with that knowledge that you have.
I totally, that was a word. Okay, I totally agree with that because
Yeah.
it's funny because I just did a special episode like a month or two back called participatory medicine.
Mhm.
And though the word, I love that little word, participatory. Okay, as cute as it is, it's basically stuff that we all know, right?
Uh-huh.
You can't, when you're diagnosed with something, in this case of like a multiple myeloma, as you say, you can't just sit with, as you learn certain things. And this is something where the whole experience between your doctor and the patient shifts, and you really have to, I guess, do your part, if that makes any sense. It
Yeah.
can't just be, I go to the doctor. Like, yes, you go to the doctor, but now this is like a triple effect here because now you're going to the doctor and you want to know what are your chances of how long you're going to be here on this earth.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this means you have to really be vocal, and that's my whole thing is the vocal. You have some people who still don't use their voice.
Mhm.
Now, as I've said plenty of times here, you may not be comfortable as being vocal as Valerie and I, as using these different platforms or speaking at different um, forums or what have you. However, it's just the whole doctor patient scenario is it's so important. It's so important because
Yeah.
you're now part of this journey is including your medical team,
Mhm.
and it's you doing what they're saying, but you also have a voice and how you want this new journey to be, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So,
We Tiffany was she was at the chapter meeting yesterday,
okay.
Tiffany Williams, and
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
we talked about using our voice, on this patient journey that we're on, and everybody has a voice, and I think the more that we use our voice, the easier it gets. Now, most people are like, I don't know how to talk to my medical team because they're the medical people. They know, um, but it is your health. So you have to have your voice heard in that. And I think that's part of when I think of shared decision making and stuff like that. You shouldn't just go along with something. I learned the hard way. Don't go along with it just because the doctor said so. Use your voice and ask questions. Express your concerns because your concerns are important. And if they're not willing to listen to your concerns, that may not be the right person that you need to be seeing for your care.
Right.
It's that mutual respect there. You need to be heard at some point in a conversation. Don't be
Totally.
intimidated by your doctor. I was
Girl, because
coaching this girl. I
mm-hmm,
was coaching
mm-hmm.
her yesterday, and she said, I go to the doctor and I have questions that I want to ask, and they come in the room and I get intimidated. And I said, I understand. I've been there. I know what that feels like. But you're not getting your needs met. And then you leave that doctor's office and you still have those questions and you still don't know anything and you're still wondering. And I look at it as, yes, doctors, they have that education that we don't have. They know a little bit more than we know, but in the end, they're people too. They put on their pants one leg at a time. You know, they need sleep just like we do. But at the end of the day, they're going home as a doctor and you're going home as a patient. You have to live that experience every day. You are the one that has multiple myeloma. Um, so you are essentially the expert in it because you're living with it every day. So don't be intimidated by your doctors. And doctors they want to help. If this doctor is really, for you and supporting you, they're going to be there and they're going to want to listen to you. So get that courage, dig deep down inside and just, speak up. Speak
Speak
up for
up.
yourself.
It,
Hmm.
it's crazy because I just did a post to remind people of the episode that I did again on participatory medicine.
Hmm.
And it's the same situation. Is being vocal, and you hit it right on the nail, the head, in terms of intimidation. You know, grown people, we're not talking little kids, we're talking people, I'll say 20 up or whatever. But it's something about, as I've stated in my last post, it's something about religious leaders and doctors where
Hmm.
people just have the fear of God in
Yeah.
terms of, oh, I shouldn't say because they should be respected.
Yeah.
Especially for me, respect goes both ways, first
Hmm.
off.
Hmm.
Okay, but that's just to me.
Yeah.
But this is like a different ball game now because now you're being diagnosed with something that is not a head cold
Hmm.
or something that is not as major.
Hmm.
Let me read some of the comments here.
Yeah.
um, we have we are empowered by using our voice and experiences. Thank God there's no one like each person.
Hmm.
True. We partner with our care team, much like going to the grocery. Okay, what happened? Much like going to the grocery store and getting what's needed. And that is from Extraordinary in Pink. And
Okay.
then, oh, hey, Jace, what do you feel is a good practice to overcome that fear? Do you want to answer
Yeah.
that first and then I'll go?
Yeah, well, I will say, because fear was a big thing that I dealt with, and I still deal with it. I mean, hey, keep it real with you. Um, but I really looked at where was the fear coming from and what did it stem from. And I think what helped me was really finding out the root of that. Once I found out the root of that, and then I kind of took that apart piece by piece and dealt with that, then that fear disappeared. Um, so, I mean, it wasn't easy. It's not always easy to get over something that you're fearful of, but it is very possible to overcome those fears.
Totally. Um, I can say from my experience, again, as I've said before, because for those who are new, I guess, okay, this is what did you say? Well, for those who see later, I'm repeating. When I was diagnosed, I was young, okay, still young, but younger. And the doctor that I went to did not see younger patients. He saw patients who were like in their 70s and 80s. So that was a big deal. So based on his experience of not seeing someone that young, he was stating things that made sense for his typical patient. But it just wasn't clicking in terms of someone so young based on some of the things he was suggesting. So for me, that's where we had to flip it in terms of being vocal. And part of being vocal was finding another doctor who was more suitable. So it's things like that of making those type of choices, though the doctor could say, okay, your head is going to fall off next week if you don't do X, Y, and Z. Okay, you have the choice of doing X, Y, and Z, or look for somebody else who is not giving you those choices, especially if you're in your gut. And sometimes you have to go by your gut if your doctor or the facility or what have you is right for you. Sometimes we know the answer. Like, this experience is horrible, but let me just go. No. Okay. You have
Yeah,
to really change that whole thought. So,
yeah. I think I will say anytime that you're feeling fear, step back and
mhm.
look at why are you feeling the fear. Don't make any decisions out of fear because it probably is not going to end well if you're making decisions out of fear. They're probably not going to be the best decisions for you. So just step back and take a deep breath and really look at the whole big picture and kind of figure out why, why you're feeling uneasy. And if you are feeling uneasy, then just know that, hey, I need a little bit more information. Don't feel that you have to rush, gather all the information you need so you can make informed decisions and decisions that you're going to be comfortable about down the road. That's very important, not just as dealing with cancer. That's, in life, just stop and think about it and look at the big picture. Um, I know sometimes you have to make quick decisions and stuff like that, but if it's not something you need an answer on right now, step back and look at the whole big picture.
I totally agree. And that's like one of those statements where you hear people say, give me a minute to pray on it.
Hmm.
And it's not to be like extra, oh, what is this? So she got to pray on it. Sometimes we have to just simmer in silence.
Hmm. Yep.
Everything that you're hearing it's a lot. So, and the fear is definitely in there. So
Yeah.
sometimes it may take a day, it may take 3 days or a week. You need to simmer and then react, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I always say get a piece. If you don't have a piece about it, then something is probably not as it should be, you
Exactly.
know. Uh, yeah.
So as we wrap up here, I think we've kind of made some parting words, but what parting words would you tell someone who is newly diagnosed?
I would tell someone if you're newly diagnosed, just know that you are not alone. And some of the feelings you may be feeling, um, other people have probably felt that way too. So know that you're not alone. Get connected with other people who have been through what you are going through. Get connected with other people who have been through what you are going to go through. Connect with those people and uh, have hope. Find something that you can hope in. For me, I always share, I was recently diagnosed. I went to this patient and family seminar and I met he was a 26-year survivor. And I met him and he's like, I've been on this journey 26 years and I've seen a lot of stuff. And just when I heard 26 years, I was like, what?
Mhm.
Because 4 or 5 years or 3 to 5 years, that was
Right.
what Dr. Google told me,
Right.
and I was believing Dr. Google. So but when I met this gentleman, it just gave me so much hope immediately because I'm like, 26 years, okay, I can live, I can do this. So find something to have hope in. um, Continue to live your life. make plans. Don't look at it as, oh, I got multiple myeloma, and you just stop everything. Continue
Right.
to live life, live life to the fullest, and educate yourself about the disease. For me, when I was diagnosed, I felt that I had lost all control. Now, I never had control anyway, but part of me is like, I thought I did. Um, so getting educated about the disease and sharing what little knowledge that I did have, that helped me gain what I call control. Again, you're not in control of anything, but it gave me a sense of peace and knowing, okay, I'm doing what I can, to control what's in my little scope here. So those are some things I always tell new people, new coaches when I, talking to somebody that's newly diagnosed and they're scared. They may maybe not getting the support that they want. Um, you know, Connect with others on the journey. There's nobody like somebody who's already there or who's been there that can kind of take you under their wing and you know, show you what to expect. So yeah, that's what I would tell newly diagnosed people. You're not alone. This is something that more and more people are getting diagnosed with, but people are living longer, good lives. You know, People need to understand that you can live a good life with multiple myeloma.
You really can't, you know, and healthy too, because that's another
Yes.
thing. That word, oh, I'm not healthy, or for some people, they feel tainted in terms
Hmm.
of as soon as you're diagnosed with cancer, then that means, okay, you're not healthy.
Hmm.
So maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't eat healthier if you were eating healthy because, well, I already have cancer, so what difference does it make? But no, you can still flourish to be healthy and live a good life. You know,
Yeah.
it definitely is it's a different from your old life. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah.
But you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, I would say, and somebody, Jeff, asked this question, if you could go back, because I've met some amazing people on this myeloma journey, really good friends and associates and just people along the way. And he asked that question, he said, if you could go back and change it to where you didn't have myeloma, but you wouldn't have, the friends and connections that you've made. Um, it really gave me something to think about because I've met, like I said, some great people along this journey, and it has been life changing for me. So, right now, I would say no, I wouldn't go back to that because this is, it's better. Um, and I know some people just are not going to understand that, but again, until you've been there and until you
exactly.
walked in my shoes, what you just say, Yolanda, until you walked in my shoes. So, yeah.
There you go. It's funny because I mean that's a great point to kind of like pause on that because it's just a good point. We have, I hate that people get this disease, but I'm so grateful that you stand as a source of hope. So that's from
Yeah.
Oh Hey Jace.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
you
Thank you.
know,
We in this together, Myeloma is this, we're a team. We're a group that nobody wants to be a part of. If you'd ask me, hey, you want to be on the myeloma team? I'd be like, I'm gonna pass on that because that is not. But we're there. We're there. Let's make the best of it now. Let's support one another. Let's do this thing together. Is how I look at it.
it's so true. It's so true. It's a huge community, and so that's a good thing. It's not a good thing because, again, no one really wants to be part of it. But
Mhm.
if you are part of it, it's okay because you
Yeah.
have a big community,
Yeah.
of thrivers, as you say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, as I say, we got this.
Yes, we do.
We
Yes,
got
we
this.
do.
So
Yeah.
how can viewers follow you or learn more about your advocacy?
So I am on Instagram here at Myeloma Valarie. I do a little bit on Twitter. I took a pause from Twitter, but I want to get back on Twitter. You can find me in most places at Myeloma Valarie. That's my handle. Facebook, I'm just Valarie Traynham. So follow me. Join me on the journey. I'd love to have you. We can learn together
Wonderful.
and we can support one another and be there for one another.
And may I add, Valerie is good people, guys. So follow
I
her
love it. I
page,
try to be good people. I try to be.
you know,
Try to be.
good people. And we need that. We need that, your type of energy. Let's put it that way. We
Yeah,
need your type of,
awesome.
because I've seen a mixture and it's like, okay, you stay on over there. Bless your heart. But this was a wonderful conversation on this
Yes,
Friday.
thank you.
And I hope whoever came on, for those who come on later, I hope you've learned a lot from what Valerie's journey has been. And happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, happy
Or
Thanksgiving, Yolanda. I just want to say thank you for having me. I always enjoy being around you. You got that good energy too, so
thank you,
it's a good
sis.
thing there.
Thank you.
Yes,
I really
yes,
appreciate it.
yeah. Thank you.
So,
Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the comments there. I couldn't read them all as they were coming up, but
yeah,
thank you for the
you had
comments
some good
there.
ones. I tried to read. I probably missed one or two, but I think we got the gist. Thank you, sis. And of
Awesome.
course, we'll be in touch. But
Of course. Of course.
bye, everyone. Thank you,
Bye
Valerie.
bye. Thank you. Thanks, Yolanda.
Bye.
Bye bye.